Hey everybody, welcome to week 16. I am going to go over week 16 and finals week, so this will be our very last overview for college writing this week. I do want to remind you that you have an annotated bibliography that is due Friday. This is your final draft, and your podcast is due Tuesday of finals week. So those are the big looming deadlines that are on the horizon for you. Okay, so welcome to week 16 and finals week. I also combined your course schedule. So this is our last course schedule as well. Hopefully you have printed it and you are taking a look at those due dates and taking a look at what is due. So let's start out with week 16. That is this week. Week 15, last week you handed in like a one entry for your annotated bib and should have gotten feedback on that, so you should know what you're doing there. And then you also handed in a first draft of your rhetorical analysis worksheet, which you will be getting if you haven't gotten already feedback on that. So on Monday, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to finish your annotated bibliography. You're going to go through and make sure you have at least 10 entries, 3 of which are from Serial, 3 of which are not from Serial, and the other 4 are whatever you want. If you want another episode of Serial in there, that's fine. If you want to do all outside sources, that's fine too. But that needs to be complete, and you need to make sure that your entries are alphabetized and all of your citations are correct, and the citation part is double spaced, and the summary is perfect and brief and concise and paraphrased, and your justification tells me exactly why this source supports your argument, your claim, your thesis statement. Okay, so that's what your justification is going to tell me, is I chose this source because it proves that Adnan is guilty, innocent, not guilty, or I'm unsure, right? You're going to be able to talk about that in your justification paragraph. So there should be 2 paragraphs per entry. The paragraphs are single-spaced, the citations are double-spaced, and in alphabetical order. So make sure it is perfect. All your punctuation is perfect, all your spelling is perfect, all your grammar is perfect. Make sure it's perfect. And that is due on Friday. Okay, then on Tuesday, I have this day as your assignment to revise your rhetorical analysis worksheet. Let me remind you that everybody turned in a draft Friday. I will be or have looked at this draft of yours, and some of you, I'm sure, have done a really, really good job on this. You took a lot of time on it, you crafted your argument, you figured out how you were going to build ethos for yourself, you found your pathetic stuff to put in pathos, you figured out your syllogism, you figured out what fallacies you're going to use to try and trick your audience, you did your counter argument and your refutation, and your acknowledgement. So you've done everything. You figured out what kind of rhetoric you were using. You figured out your goal, right? And you are just polished it and you're ready to go. And if you did that, you will not have to do a draft 2. If you weren't quite done with draft 2, with the draft 1, you weren't quite done, you handed in something that might have had a few holes that you weren't understanding, maybe you left off the fallacies altogether, maybe you just weren't finished, right? With Cicero's outline, for example, whatever. Hopefully you start with Cicero's outline though, so hopefully that part will be done for everybody before you hand that in. But anyway, I digress. Maybe you just needed some help. So I would give you feedback on that, and I would tell you you need to do a draft 2. So those of you who get that note in their feedback that you need to do a draft 2, this slide is for you. That means that you are revising your rhetorical analysis worksheet. You should have a whole new worksheet done. So I should be able to pull up your draft 1 and pull up your draft 2, and they should be, I should see where you have added and how different it is. I don't want you to go back to the same draft and just try and squeeze stuff in. I want it to be neat so I can read it, and it needs to be complete. And if you don't understand something, you need to make a conference time with me so we can go over it so you can get this done. Okay? I will put feedback in the assignment folder for draft 1 for everybody, telling you whether or not you need to do your draft 2. So those of you who get a note that says, yep, you need to do draft 2, that is due on Friday of this week as well. Okay? Then, once you're done with your revision of that, Wednesday or whenever you get done, right, then you just keep plugging away on your podcast. That means you are figuring out how you're going to talk, what image you're going to have. You're going to totally get your rhetorical analysis worksheet complete so you have a good plan, a good skeleton for your podcast. And you're going to just keep on working on that because that is due Tuesday of finals week. Which brings us to finals week, right? You're still working on your podcast, and on Monday, you're just going to finish everything up. So you're going to complete your rhetorical analysis worksheet, your final draft. Okay? And just because that's due Friday of this week doesn't mean you can't do that early and then send me an email and say, hey, Meg, I finished my draft 2 of my rhetorical analysis. Can you look at it and can we meet? Because we can definitely do that. So Monday, though, you're going to be doing your final draft, polishing, making sure I can read it, making sure it's perfect. You're going to complete your podcast. You're going to make sure you have an image. You're going to make sure that you're hitting all of the points of your argument using your rhetorical analysis worksheet as a guide. A lot of people in the past have done a little script for themselves or an outline before they start taping, so they make sure they hit everything that they need to hit. I would definitely make sure that you have your grade sheet out, and so you know exactly what I'm going to be looking for when I listen to your podcast. Make sure that everything is good, and then also, another reminder, make sure your link works. I told you in many different times, I'm sure already, that this is the biggest problem of the podcast, is that people do not check and they post something that I do not have access to, and this has caused people not to pass this assignment and not pass the class, because if they needed the points for this assignment to pass the class, then they don't pass the class. So I cannot tell you how important that is. It is so important to make sure that I will be able to open it. Okay? And then there is an end of the semester metacognitive letter that needs to be written, and that is also due on Tuesday at noon. So those are your 3 things to complete on Monday. Everything's due at Tuesday on Tuesday at noon during finals week. And then you are done with college writing. And I just want to thank you for such a great semester. I have enjoyed you so much. I've gotten to know so many of you, and I just really appreciate how hard you worked this semester. I know that I expect a lot of you, and the reason I expect a lot of you is because I know that that is just going to make you succeed even more in every class you take from now on. Your writing skills have just improved so much this semester, and you should be immensely proud of yourself at how hard you worked. Jan always loves this quote, and I stole it from her because I think it's beautiful too. It's a C.S. Lewis quote. There are far better things ahead than any we leave behind. So I hope that your things ahead are even better, and that everything continues to improve, and that the skills and the things that you've learned this semester you take with you in order to continue your learning and your improvement in your writing and thinking abilities. Just remember that I'm always your teacher, so if you need me for anything, feel free to email me. I will help you in any way that I can. I've just really had a great semester with you guys, so thank you for that. And have a wonderful, wonderful break. It is well deserved.